In 2020, I became a woman more certain of her place in the world, one more confident in going after the things she wants, and more trusting of her instincts to guide her in life. I tried new things, discovered new places, went on adventures, and made memories that will stick with me for years to come. I gave myself the freedom to be creative and was brave enough to do things that scared me. I took responsibility for my happiness and ultimately got closer to the future me I aspire to be. It was a great year. Little letter that I wrote to myself that I'm gonna put on my vision board. It's a little cheesy, but I feel like we could all use a little fromage in our life. And I think writing stuff as if they've already happened can be really powerful. Great way to trick the brain into thinking that it's already doing these things, so it can't be that difficult to execute on. Like the best place to start my morning when I get ready, because I just look around and I'm constantly taking in all these amazing visuals and words that just kind of get me off to a good start for the day. I try about once or twice a year just to have like a little update session for my vision board, vision door situation. And this time around I really tried to pick images that aligned with my 2020 goals. I am someone who personally does like setting goals at the beginning of the year. Do I always achieve the goals? No, but sometimes I do. And more importantly, I think it just gives me a good direction for the year, so I know like what things I want to focus on, what daily habits I want to incorporate. I know it's easy to brush off New Year's resolutions. It's kind of like, oh well, you know, everyone forgets about them at the end of January, but it's a new year, a new decade. There's no better time than now to start thinking about what you want for your 2021 self. That's a weird number to say, 2021. I'm not ready. I'm not even ready for 2020. If you've been following this channel for a while, then you know I bullet journal, and this is my new bullet journal for 2020. It's an Archer and Olive journal with like these gold pages. It is gorgeous, and I did a whole video where I showed you the spreads that I created for the new year. This was probably one of my favorites. Reflection on 2019 and a little mini 2020 vision board in my journal. Look, they're like sisters. One of the spreads I'm going to fill out today is the goal setting page. I have a section for work goals, personal goals, and reading goals, because those are the big 3 categories of goals that I have this year. There's a place for me to write down what each of my goals are, and also a timeline situation where I can kind of write down little steps for each month of the year. Mini challenges that kind of keep me on track. I probably have the most work goals this year. I'm a full-time YouTuber. This is my first full year being a full-time YouTuber, so I think it's really important to have things I'm working towards, because I definitely don't want to get into a rut of just film, edit, post, film, edit, post. As much as I love creating videos, like just doing that all the time, I think can get a little repetitive, and you just get comfortable doing just that. But I want to expand. I want to challenge myself. I want to keep my brain active. And since I don't have a boss telling me like projections that we need to hit, or coworkers, you know, seeing what work I do every day, I'm the only one here. So I need to create some sort of mission for myself to keep that fire under my butt. One of my big goals for 2020 is to get on an upload schedule. At first it will be something that only I am trying to do privately, but ideally I would like to be able to announce to you when you can expect a video each week. I think there's something nice about that, knowing like when to expect a video. I think as a viewer, I like knowing when my favorite YouTubers are going to be uploading. So that is a big goal. Another goal of mine is to spend 1 day a month planning out the whole month, meaning I sit down and I plan out almost to the hour what I'm doing for each day for that following month. December is always a really busy month as a creator. Brands suddenly want content. You're creating content for the holidays. You're creating content so that when you go home for the holidays, you don't have to worry about filming. So it's just a really busy time. And I found it so much less stressful having had done a really detailed plan, because I wasn't so concerned with how I was gonna get things done. I was just, if I was sometimes stressed, but it was just the stress of, oh, I need to get this done today. I wasn't worried about what's coming next week or tomorrow, and that is such a gift. That is absolutely getting implemented into 2020. I think it's a system that really works for me, and I gotta make the time to just set up the system so that I have it, because I just feel like I wasn't doing that as detailed as I should have been, and now I'm like craving more of that in my life. The other 3 goals I have them actually on sticky notes because I wrote them a few weeks ago, are all related to like projects or different things I want to explore for the Caitlin's Corner umbrella. So I don't want to talk about all 3 of them, but one of them that has been really heavy on my mind is creating a podcast. It even kind of scares me to talk about it on camera because I feel like, again, that's like putting myself in a place where I have accountability because I said something I want to do this year. So if I don't do it this year, then that's gonna look really shitty. But I think that's also good. That way I can't like just not do it. And the thing about like a podcast or any of these other projects I kind of want to do is I find that I've been wanting to do them, but because they are so new to me, I get crippled by that first stage, which is so funny because when I started YouTube, I was in the same place I am now with these projects. I didn't know anything about being a YouTuber or creating videos or editing videos, and the only way that I learned how to do it is by actually doing it. So I do have something showing me through experience that you just gotta have to throw yourself into something sometimes, and you only learn as you go. But something has been preventing me from just diving into these, and I think what I need to do is break down these projects into much less intimidating things. Yes, there are gonna be like little pieces to the puzzle of like a podcast that I don't know how to do, but it's much easier to attack little pieces of the pie than to be like, how does podcasting work? And that's a big question. Like, I think you have to break down your questions into, well, how do I publish a podcast? What are outlining tips for podcast episodes? What do I want to discuss? Like, what are my topics I want to talk about? What is the theme that I want to have? Like, just breaking things down into questions that I can more easily answer than just, well, how do I start a podcast? You know what I mean? So those goals especially, I think, are going to benefit from some timeline action over here, because it'd be good to know, you know, what steps I actually need to take each month to succeed at having a podcast launch at some point in 2020. Hopefully sooner rather than later, but we shall see. In terms of personal goals, one of the goals I made in 2019 that I don't think I did as well on is I wanted to embrace more creativity in my life. And as great of a goal as that is, I think it was way too general, because that did not lead to me over the long term throughout 2019 really doing things throughout the year that were creative and different. I think I did try some things, like I painted a bit, I went to see more musicals, and I started reading poetry and little things like that, but I didn't like really dedicate myself to getting creative regularly. So I'm gonna have that same goal this year, is to embrace creativity, but I'm gonna make it a lot more specific because I think that's really important with goals. And the way I'm making it specific is I'm going to tell myself that one day a month I want to have a creative day. And that creative day can be like whatever it is that I am feeling inspired to do, whether it's painting, writing, I really want to get writing again, noodling, journaling, whatever it is. But like a day that's like, this is a strictly creative day. This is a day for you to express yourself. And I'm gonna have that once a month. It's gonna be part of my scheduling process with my work goals. I'm gonna schedule in that day. I'm sure through that process, I'll find more opportunities than just one day a month to be creative. But I think that's a really great way to tell myself that I need to have a day that's not related to work, that's just like for me. purely for my own expression, not necessarily for the purpose of publicizing what I'm creating, which I feel like when I do journaling now, obviously I do journaling that never sees the light of day, and that's therapeutic, but when I'm creating journal spreads for Plan With Me's and stuff, there is a part of that is always aware that someone else is seeing it, but I don't give myself as much freedom to just kind of go crazy, and I want a little bit of crazy in my life. Another goal of mine, which again I think can be a little bit general, is I want to learn, or I want to actively be learning Portuguese in 2020. I haven't quite figured out how I'm going to make this more specific. I'm not sure if I want to give myself a daily amount of time that I want to spend learning Portuguese, or if there's a workbook that I just want to break down and figure out like what do I need to do each week to kind of finish that workbook by the end of the year. But if you have any tips for learning a new language, let me know in the comment section down below. I feel like I need it. My last category of goals are reading goals. Reading is a really big part of my life. I read a lot. And this year I have a very ambitious reading goal, and that's to read 60 books. So if you do the math, that works out to 5 books a month, which is a lot. I do read though quite often, so I don't think it's going to be necessarily difficult to reach that if I was just counting fiction books, because I read a lot of fiction, but I want at least 50% of those 60 to be non-fiction books. So I want to at least be reading 30 non-fictions this year. Sounds overwhelming. Obviously that's like a big number, so when you just think about that, you're like, how? I tend to read non-fiction very slowly, and I'm not very I don't like commit in the same way that I do a fiction book. Fiction book, once I start, I'm like, I'm here, let's finish this. But in nonfiction, I tend to read a little bit more slowly, which can be good because I do think there's more information to digest. So going slower allows you to kind of marinate on some ideas and thoughts. But I think I've been a little too lax with them because sometimes I'm reading them for so long that I start to kind of lose interest in them. But this is not gonna happen this year. This year we're gonna be better. We're gonna be a better reader. And the way that I'm actually gonna keep track of this goal, I do have a tracker in my bullet journal, but I'm also going to keep track of this on Goodreads. So I think I'm gonna create a new Goodreads account, start fresh, keep track of what I'm reading. I'm gonna make comments on books while I'm reading them, because you can actually do that. You can update your status with like which page you're on and what kind of thought or idea you had from that. I'm gonna try and write like a mini review on my thoughts for each book, but I think that would be a great way for you also to see what I'm reading. I always get lots of questions about what books I'm reading and my thoughts and what I would recommend, but it'd be great for you to just have a resource where you can go to my Goodreads account, see, oh, what has Caitlin read recently? What is she liking? I'm kind of interested as well. I don't know. It's just like, I think a really great spot to do that. We'll have a link to my Goodreads account in the description box below. Those are pretty much my goals. There's a lot of them. You may have noticed the absence of eat healthy and exercise. I've had those 2 goals on my January list for years. And it's not to say that they're not something that I want to prioritize, but I just wanted to put my attention on some new stuff this year. But that being said, like I'm gonna be participating in the Yoga with Adriene 30 Days of Yoga challenge. So I'll be doing a yoga practice every day in January, and that's always a really great way. I've done 2 years now, so this will be my 3rd, of just getting yourself back into the habit of spending time moving your body. I'm also planning on doing more meal prepping in 2020 to prevent myself from eating out as much. They're not the main goals for 2020 for me personally, but they're there. They always are there. I hope you guys ended up enjoying this video. I would love to know if you feel comfortable to share what is a goal that you are actively working towards in 2020. And if you're looking for some sort of system for writing down your goals and creating like a plan for getting to them, like definitely go check out my 2020 bullet journal video. My bullet journal is the way that I keep track of everything in my life, and I will definitely throughout the year be showing updated spreads for how to kind of check in with how you're doing with your goals. So stay tuned for those in future Plan With Me videos. I'd also love to take this opportunity to ask you, what can I be doing in 2020 content-wise to make this a better channel? What kind of topics do you want to hear more of? What do you like that this channel brings to the table? What would you like less of maybe? You know, I want to hear it all. I obviously want to create content that I'm passionate about, but I also want to create content that you guys are excited to watch. So if there's any thoughts there, let me know. I will see you all very soon with a new video, and until then, bye everyone.